This is the fourth post in the Fireproof Selling Series contest, in which we're giving away almost $13,000 in prizes. This post will teach you the heart of selling, how to listen to what the customer says and hear the real needs that are hiding behind their words. Nobody wants a ruler. What they want is a straight line. Nobody wants a drill bit. What they want is a hole in their wall. Nobody wants a dieting book. What they want is to lose 10 pounds. Have you ever heard any of these examples? There are lots more that we could give you, but you get the gist. There's a difference between what you're selling, the product or service with features, and what your prospects want to buy, the benefits, or the desired end state that your product will create. That much we all know. Find the real benefits and the customer will want to buy. The real question is, how do we do it? Funny you should ask. We're going to show you a process for doing exactly that.
There are a few steps to this process. First, you have to understand the prospect situation. Then you need to identify the implications of that situation. Then you establish the gap, and only then do you establish the desired outcome. Let's go one by one.
The very first step is to establish that you understand the prospect situation. If they don't believe that you understand their situation, they aren't likely to listen to anything else. You establish an understanding of the prospect situation by asking questions and really listening to the answers. You should ask open-ended questions that will take more than a word or two for the prospect to answer. A yes or no won't tell you much, but giving them free rein to answer the question will. Here's an example to illustrate. A closed-ended question might look like this. Have you hired an interior designer before? That invites a yes or no answer. Or an open-ended question. What do you expect an interior designer to accomplish for you? In this case, they have to think and give you some real information that will help you understand their needs. It's not enough to just ask the question. You need to really listen to the answer. Really listening means active listening. Demonstrate your understanding by paraphrasing and repeating what the prospect says. And when you think you understand them, ask if you are right. For example, what I'm hearing is that you want an interior designer to make the room feel comfortable for you. Is that right? It might sound a bit cheesy, but you'll see that people will be both pleased and flattered that you paid so much attention, and their confidence in you will increase dramatically.
Second, identify the pain and implications. So now that you know where your prospect is at, you can talk about what exactly the implications of that situation are. This is where you reveal the pain. They're looking for an interior designer before they move? Well, people aren't going to be that interested in paying top dollar for an unattractive house. It goes further. Their less than satisfactory house is a reflection on them. If you can break this down for them, it's going to be a lot harder for your prospect to decide against your product or service. As with the earlier part of the sales meeting, you want to do this through conversational questions. Telling them is one thing, but helping them realize it and say it themselves will have a much stronger impact. Situation leads to pain, and pain leads to implication. That is the path to establishing the gap.
That's the third step, establishing the gap. At this point, your prospect should be convinced that they need to make a change of some kind. Now it's time to drive that idea home by establishing the difference between what would happen if they did nothing and what would happen if they took advantage of your product or service. We call this establishing the gap. You do this by asking, what if nothing changed? What would that mean? Their answer might be emotional. After all, they've just finished telling you about the painful implications of their current situation. The idea that the situation might not change is scary.
That's how you get to the fourth step, establish the desired outcome. You must establish the desired outcome right after establishing the gap. You can't just let them suffer. Ask them to imagine what life would be like if they decide to do business with you and you bridge that gap for them. This is the delightful, pain-free future that they will have by working with you. Can they afford not to hire an interior designer if it means they won't be able to sell their house? Of course not. Infomercials have this entire process down to a science. They aren't perfect illustrations of this process because, well, they're infomercials which are prone to gross exaggeration. But still, they demonstrate the pain, give you a solution, and then they tell you how to get it. Sure, they're corny and at least a little bit ridiculous, but they wouldn't keep making them if they didn't work. We're definitely not telling you to style your pitch like an infomercial. They aren't exactly known for their blinding sincerity or quality. But you can learn from them. The process we've described may seem a little too easy or a little too obvious. But if you've done everything correctly, the entire meeting will have felt like nothing more than a friendly conversation, which is exactly what you want.
That's it for the post, but don't forget the contest. You could win over $10,000 in prizes. The Fireproof Selling Series is part of a contest with some amazing prizes that we're giving away on January 31st. If you want a chance to win, you need to, number 1, sign up for our free 7-day business fireproofing video course. Number 2, sign up to receive our blog updates by email. Number 3, comment on each post in this series, answering the comment question at the end of the post. And number 4, share each post in the series with your friends by email, Twitter, Facebook, whatever works best for you. Just mention in your comment how you shared it. You can also read the more detailed instructions on the FirePole Marketing blog, but that's the gist of it right there.
Okay, time for your comment question. The comment question is, what is the gap that you help your customers to cross?